Hey, hola, ¿cómo estás? Bonjour, ça va? It's me, the Lost Canuck, coming at you live and in person on this beautiful summer day in Wisconsin. So, we're starting a brand new series on the channel. It's called Will It Spin? So, I'm standing in front of my Big Ben 10 sandwich-grate rotisserie, and if you haven't seen me cook on this thing, I'll put a video link up top for the playlist. I've cooked a lot of different things on here, and you're probably asking, what's a sandwich-grate rotisserie? Well, it goes through all that stuff. So this is a really cool sandwich-grate rotisserie system from Wellspring Components, okay? And we're gonna do a new series, like I say, Will It Spin? First thing we're gonna try is beef ribs. I know, Dino ribs, 3-bone, NAMP 123A beef ribs. It's going to be exciting, and hopefully it'll work. But first, let's roll that intro. Okay, like I said, we're going to try some beef ribs. So what I'm going to do is clean out all the old charcoal. You don't have to see any of that stuff. I'm going to load her up with new charcoal, some briquettes and lump. I got some really cool lump from Wild West charcoal. Get her lit up, and let's get those beef ribs on there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare making beef ribs on this rotisserie with charcoal against making beef ribs on my Oklahoma Joe Bronco 2.0 non-rotisserie. We're going to use the same charcoal, same seasonings, same temperatures, the whole gambit, okay? So we'll see. Well, will it spin, number one, and does this taste any better on a rotisserie? I think it might even taste a little better. We'll find out. Okay. So let's go upstairs. Let's get those beef ribs all prepped up. I'll show you how to do that. And if you already know how to prep beef ribs, you can fast forward to when I load this thing up. So let's get going. Hey, we're back upstairs in the barbecue lab. And like I said down at the pit, we're doing that new series, Will It Spin? Will It Spin? Kind of like David Letterman's Will It Float, if you're that old and remember that stuff. So, look, I've got a couple of really nice beef ribs here. These are beef plate ribs. Now, I got these at Costco. I don't know if you have a Costco near you. Just got to ask the guy in the back if he's got a 2-pack of these beef ribs. This is how they come. These ones were, for 2 plates, it was $114. So, not cheap. And you kind of cook them like a brisket. Okay, so we're going to cook them like a brisket. And what I'm going to do is one rack we're going to cook out on the Wellspring Components Big Ben 10. That's my rotisserie, Will It Spin? And this rack, I'm going to do exactly the same method, except I'll cook this on the Oklahoma Joe's Bronco 2.0. And we'll compare them, see if they taste any different, see if rotisserie is superior. I don't know. I've never done this before. So, you know, like I said, Lost Canuck sometimes says, if we're lost, then we're lost together. All right. So, I'm going to take this rack, 2 racks of beef plate ribs, and we're going to turn them into this. Juicy, yummy, delicious. I like beef ribs. Beef ribs, barbecued. Stay tuned. All right, well, I got them out of the cryovac package, okay? The other one's sitting over there. It's a little thicker than these ones, so here's the plan. I'm going to take my thicker one. They're about roughly the same footprint and size. I'll take the thicker one. We're going to put that on the rotisserie, okay? Because normally, in my experience, open fire cooking over the rotisserie cooks a lot faster. than just sitting on the grate and cooking. So this one's going on the Bronco, and that one over there that you can't see is going to go on the Wellspring. Okay, so what I like to do now, the intermuscular marbling, these things are awesome. So what I'm going to do is pull some of the silver skin off here and some of the fat. You don't want that. So yeah, here's that silver skin. Just take your knife blade and try not to cut your hands off. And just let the blade go underneath that silver skin. If you don't get it all, it's okay. How you can tell if it's hard is just use your fingers, press down. Oh, there's a big chunk of it. It doesn't, it's going to turn yellow and not render on you nicely out on the pit. Okay, this looks good. All right, now on the other side, okay, it's got the membrane on it, all right? And to pull the membrane off of beef ribs is really hard to do. And this one's going on the Bronco, so I'm going to keep the membrane on there. And you don't even eat it anyways. When you cut these things up, you scrape the meat off the bone, the one side, and you leave the membrane on. So let's throw this into the trash. This is the silver skin and other stuff. Now, you can keep the fat. I usually keep the fat, but my freezer's loaded up with so much trimming right now, I got to do something with it. We're going to do that in a minute. All right. So, next step, okay? We're going to make these like a brisket. That's how I do beef ribs. If you do beef ribs differently, let me know. Leave me a comment down below under the video description. Hey, Lost Canuck, I do my beef ribs a little different, or whatever. But this is how I cook them like a brisket, okay? So we're going to do it just like a brisket. And what I'm going to do, you don't have to do it because the surface is fairly tacky. I'm going to throw some binder on the surface. And I'm going sticking with the local theme. This is Bigfoot BBQ sauce. This stuff's made right here in Hudson, Wisconsin. You can't buy it here in Hudson, Wisconsin, which is pretty weird, but it's made here. And you got to order this. I'll leave a link down below. It's made here in Wisconsin. It's a small, very small business. I like his sauce. So let's open this thing up. Okay, now this sauce, very thin. It's more like a marinade. It's not like a thicker barbecue sauce. So just get this on the surface and enough to hold your rubs on. Okay, we're going to use 2 rubs. You don't have to use 2 rubs. You don't have to use binder. This is just what I do. You guys do you and be happy. I'm going to do me and be happy too. Now, why am I putting rub on the membrane? I don't know. Because I'm just a weirdo like that, I guess. Anyways, it won't soak in very much, but makes me feel happy. Okay, there's our binder, and got a little bit of a mess going on over here. So, like I said, we're going to use 2 different rubs. Now, the first rub, when I was up in at my home province a while ago, I picked up some coffee meat rub from Wild West Charcoal. Walter makes his own rubs at his store there in Winnipeg. Okay, if you like rubs and sauces, it's pretty good stuff. So I like this coffee rub on beef. Okay, so both racks we're going to prep the same way. So I'm just going to initially put an initial coat of coffee rub on here. Smells great. Okay, now the thing about this stuff is there's not much salt in here, so we're going to put some season it all, kind of like I'd do a brisket anyways. Man, Lost Canuck's starting to lose his mind. Okay, so that was our coffee rub. Now, there's not much salt in there, so what I like to do, just like a brisket, I use this Bolner's Season It All seasoning salt, okay, just a little bit, just over the surface. This will put the salt portion of it in as well. This is good stuff. Texas style. I'm going to throw this in the fridge, let it air chill, and pre-salt in the fridge, dry brining, some people call it, for probably about 5 hours. Then we're going to throw it out on the pit. I got to go down and clean it. Yikes. And we're going to spin her up and see what happens. These should be tasty. Are they going to be tastier than the drum smoked ribs? Who knows? Why don't you leave a comment? Put down, hey, Lost Canuck, I love mine out using the drum. Hey, I've never seen a rotisserie rib like that before. Whatever. I answer all my comments. All right, so I'm going to prep up the other rack. I'll see you down at the pit. Hey, well, we're down here at the Big Ben 10, my sandwich-grate rotisserie, and we're going to light the pit up. Just want to tell you a little bit about what's going on inside. I got a nice layer in the middle of some Wild West charcoal. That's that Caddyshack Bronco stuff from Paraguay. Really nice lump charcoal. I love it. And then on top, I put a little layer of meat church briquettes on the top. A little tip I got from my friend of the channel, Barbecue Jerry. And I'm gonna just light it up with a regular old lighter. Let's turn our chef's temp system on here. So I'm gonna run the pit right around 230 degrees with the fan and everything. And it's been sitting here in the sunshine and it's super hot outside, so it's probably 100 degrees inside right now. Maybe I don't have to light the pit. Who knows? Anyways, let's get this thing lit, and then I'll take the camera off the tripod, show you the pile of stuff I got in there. And I forgot to also say, because I'm running beef, I've got some post oak chunks in there too. So there's my lump charcoal on the bottom, meat church briquettes spread around on the top, and a few pieces of post oak, and then my starters. So let's get this thing started, lit. All right, so it's lit. I'm going to close the lid, turn my chef's temp system on. To do that, I need to, oops. Okay, so I got the vents cracked open about 1/2 inch each, and got the Brizo fan sitting around the back there, and I got the damper open 3. It's open 3 clicks. So let me turn the chef's temp system on, and we'll get going. All right, well you can see I got the pit lit and the fans firing up. I'm gonna have to open up the fan door here a little more. So I had it 2, there's 3. Well, we'll make it 4. There. All right. See how that does. We got smoke coming out of there, so we'll let everything get equilibrated, and then we'll keep going. Okay, well we're over here at the Oklahoma Joe's Bronco 2.0, and we're gonna get this thing lit too. It's getting windy, so let's get this thing lit fast. And again, I'm lighting everything from the middle. So let's get this pushed in. Okay, so I've got this one. So I opened up that 3 clicks. I'll open this up 3 clicks. Again, got my Brizo system on here. Got the vent open just a little over 1. I'll set this up for 230 degrees. Again, I need my chef's temp app to run this. I'll turn everything on, and we'll let both pits equilibrate at 230, then we'll throw the beef ribs on. See you in a second. Okay, so my beef ribs are a little thick. I got the pit all warmed up to 230. I'm just, I think if I put it in and let it clamp down, I don't know, we'll see. I'm going to have to pull the pins and adjust things there in the pit, so hang on a second. Okay, so I made some adjustments in the pit. Let's open this up and see if we can get her in. Now, again, Wellspring, you see this moving on its own? That could turn into a dangerous situation. Might need some counterweight on the other side. Let's pick this thing up, see if I can get it in there. We'll try. Wow. She's a tight fit, but I think it'll go. Well, we got the beef ribs in there. They just fit. Let's get this thing spinning around. Turn the fan back on. Beef ribs are in. Let's get the beef ribs in on the drum. Now I had to use the smaller beef ribs on here because I just couldn't jam those big ones just wouldn't fit. So let's go throw them into the Bronco. You can see my temperature shot up, but it's coming back down. Hey, you know what I forgot? I forgot to put a temperature probe in there. I need a wireless one, and I'm going to use my combustion ink ones because it gives me an ambient temperature too. So I'll be right back. All right, well, I got my combustion probe here, and let's turn this off for a second. This side is the thick side. That should be good. Let's turn this thing back on and let her spin. Okay, after all that, let's figure it out. Will it spin? Let's go throw the ribs on the Bronco. All right, so for the Bronco, we're just going to use our Meat Stick 5 Duo. I guess get 2 temperature readings. Let's get this on. Okay, so here's what I expect. I expect the rotisserie will do a faster job because, well, A, the beef ribs are slightly smaller, and that gets closer to the coals than this. This one's probably going to take a little longer. Anyways, when it's time to wrap these things like a brisket, we'll be back and we'll wrap them up. See you in a minute. All right, well, like I thought, the rotisserie ribs are up to 165 internal. They've been kind of hanging out there now. We've kind of hit the stall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the rotisserie, take the meat off. We're going to wrap them in foil and some butter and some barbecue sauce, and then throw them back on and take them all the way up into the 200s. All right, so this is kind of a fun process. Now I'm by myself, so I gotta take them off, put them on the table, go get some butter, that kind of stuff. So hang tight. We're gonna do that and wrap them. I'm gonna wrap them in foil because if I use paper, when the rotisserie comes near the coals, the paper would probably catch on fire. All right, we're gonna use foil over on the drum too, and it's starting to catch up now. So let's do this first. Put this on pause. This has been controlling perfectly, by the way. Wow! I don't know if you can see the color on those things, but it is beautiful. Now remember, your grates are super hot. So we're gonna lean them up over here where the rocks are. Okay, I'm just gonna close this down so we don't get a runaway fire. These grill wipes come in handy too. You can see I got a big mess here. But if you don't take the grease off the paint right away, like I didn't down here, it stains it. All right, let's get this closed back up. There we go. Okay, so what I've got here is some Redneck Lipstick barbecue sauce by Real Good. Looks pretty good. And okay, get the foil out. And oh, I got to get the butter. I'll be right back. Okay, like I said, we're going to use some foil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some butter down. Probably 3 pads is plenty. There we go. A little bit of sauce. And I'm really liking this stainless table I got. I got it from Vevor. Okay, and then we'll put some butter on top. Now hopefully this squishes back down into the grate. So let's see what happens. I need to go get my hot gloves again. squish it down, put the temperature probe back in, and we're going to turn the pit up to, I'll set it up to 275, and then we'll bring the internal temp up to 200. Hang on. Okay, so I'm just putting the sandwich grate back on. Make sure it's lined up properly. Okay, I'm going to put it back in the frame here, so let me move it out of the way. Got to clamp both sides back into place. All right, let's turn this thing back on. All right, so I'm going to turn the temperature up on the chef's temp to 275. Probably open my vents up just a little more to achieve that. All right, and we'll bring this up. I'll turn it off at 200, and then the meat will cruise up, 203, 205 in there. All right, so I'll see you when it's time to take these off, and then we're gonna rest them. Then we'll cut into them. All right, so I'm gonna do some cleaning, and then it should be time to wrap those other ribs over on the drum. So I'll see you in a minute. All right, so I'm gonna throw some more lump charcoal in there. I was gonna throw some wood in, but I forgot it's wrapped, so no more wood, just some lump. That lump stuff really burns hot. That'll take me all the way through the rest of the cook. So you can see, actually I just threw it in. I didn't have my microphone on, so I'm explaining what I'm going to do in the next couple of quick slides. All right, we're going to go check on the drum here in a minute and start wrapping those ribs here momentarily. We're going to take this up to 275 now on the chef's temp, so I'll see you in a minute. Okay, well, my meat stick 5 is telling me that the internal temperature has been met, and I can see it's been stalling now for a little while. It's about 165 inside. So we're going to pull it off, wrap it, and then go from there. So let's just see what these look like. We'll put her on pause. Wow. Now this has some nice bark as well. So let's pull these off, get them wrapped. All right, so we got our butter. So let's just steak our ribs hot. Yeah, these are hot. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let me get on this side so you can see what I'm doing, is we'll put the butter. Oh, I forgot to put butter on the underside, so hang on. There we go. There we are. There we go. Okay, we got our butter on. Let's get our sauce in. And there's our fire. Okay, let's get this in there. Close this up, so get rid of the inferno. Take it off pause. Okay, so I'm going to set this up at 275. We're going to bring the cook the rest of the way through up into the 200. So the other ribs look like they're done. So I'll put those in the whole warmer, my little Vivor warmer, and we'll cook these the rest of the way. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, well, our ribs have reached target temperature. Actually, they overshot a bit. They're at 205 now. I'm going to turn this off, and we're going to pull the ribs out, wrap them in foil, or unwrap them, sorry. Unwrap them from the foil, put them in a pan, and put them in my little Vivor warmer. So let's pull these things off. All right, before I put them in the pan, I'm going to close this down. Close the chimneys to snuff out the charcoal. All right, well, the ribs on the Bronco took an extra 2 hours past the ribs on the rotisserie. Oh, and we're just saying it's up to temp now. So it's hit 200 degrees internal. We're going to pull these things off and put them in foil in a foil tray, just like what we did the other ones, and hold them until supper time. So let's open this thing up. Snuff this out. Close off the charcoal. Okay, well let's peel back some of the foil. See what we got. Ooh, these look good too. Now they're a little bit different looking than the rotisserie ribs. Rotisserie ribs were more flat because the sandwich grates kept the meat down. These look a little different. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring these into the garage, let them cool down to 160, and then do the same thing, throw them in the warming oven. And so I'll see you in a second. All right, well, it's been a long day, long night. We're almost at the end of the day. And the beef ribs are done, and we're going to check it out. We're almost at the conclusion of the Will It Spin first video of the series. So we'll get there on my final thoughts and conclusions, but let's open up some of these ribs. Now, these ones I didn't spin. These ones came off of the Oklahoma Joe Bronco. There they are there. Now I'm gonna compare, do the rotisserie ones taste a little better than non-rotisserie? I don't know. Tell you what, the rotisserie ones cooked in a lot less time than these ones. These ones took almost 6 hours, and the rotisserie ones were done in 4. So let's move this to the cutting board. And we'll take the probes out, slice into it, and see what we got. Could be good, could be bad. I'll move this out of the way. All right, so 3-bone NAMP 123A beef ribs from Costco. Let's give this one a whirl. Now we'll take the small one off, I guess. So we did get a smoke ring on here. Now this is your membrane side down here, so disregard that. But I'll peel some of this meat off the top. Got a nice little smoke ring. Looks like the fat rendered out nicely. So let's take some of this meat off here. There we go. Oh yeah, you can see the smoke ring off there pretty clearly. So we'll take some meat off here. There's bark on here. This is unfortunately a lot of waste on here. I know my dogs really want it, but I don't think it's good for them to eat. All right. Take a couple little pieces off here. It's tender. So I'll give the videographer a little one. There you go. It's got a nice smoke ring. Careful, it's hot. So we'll taste this one. Cheers. Remember, we got to compare it with the other one. Very juicy, well cooked. The crust is a little soft. It's probably because, look, I had to wrap it in foil because I wanted to compare both of them. But typically I'd wrap in butcher paper and the bark crisps up a little more. So that was the Oklahoma Joe Bronco ribs. Now we're going to try the ones that I spun on the Big Ben 10, the Wellspring Components Big Ben 10. That's why we did the video, Will It Spin? So hang on a second. Well, we got our second rack out of the little Vivor warming oven. And you'll notice a couple of differences between this rack and this rack. This rack still is a little soft on the top, okay? This one, it was on the rotisserie. Now, the sandwich grates limit the degrees of freedom of movement on this thing just to the you know, X, Y, flat. Okay, let's call it flat. So this one's a little more flat than this one. This one, when it pulls back, there's nothing there to stop it, so it puffs up more. This one, when it was cooking, stayed flatter. Now this was the smaller of the two ribs as well, but typically this the bone pullback. Whoops, look at that, I even lost the bone. Anyways, the bone pullback would be more, and this would be up higher. Okay, so let's take a slice at it, and the bark's a little drier. Okay, so will it spin? Yes, it did spin. Ooh. Now look at the smoke here. Look at the really pronounced smoke ring on this one. This looks pretty cool. Looks good. Now we're going to take the membrane off this. Remember, I didn't peel it off because it's a pain in the butt. Can I say butt on YouTube? I don't know. Hopefully I'm not censored. Now I think the bark on here is a little barkier, if that's a word. Ooh, and it cuts like butter. Now I rested these for 3.5 hours. So they're well rested. All right, so here's the one for the videographer. I'd have to say I like the bark on this one better. Now, we used the same rubs and everything, but the bark it's nicer, it's a little more pronounced than this one. I think the rotisserie, it's kind of self-bastes itself in the juices, and it kind of creates that nice layer. So it's got a nice layer of crispy kind of fat on the top. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But it is good. It is nice. Okay, so personally, I mean, these are very nice too. Okay, this is very nice. I mean, look, I wouldn't throw these away. If I made them on my Bronco, they're perfect. I'd use butcher paper if I was on the Bronco. These worked out well. So final thoughts and conclusions. Okay, let's go there. Will it spin? Yes, it will. Now, you saw me having the trouble putting this one in the sandwich grate. It was just too tall, okay? So when you go to buy beef ribs at Costco or wherever you buy them from, just look for a slightly flatter rack and it'll fit into the Wellspring Components Big Ben 10. You saw me cook brisket flats on there, no problem. That was easier because they squish down easier. These with the bones don't squish down as good, but it will spin. I like the rotisserie beef ribs over the non-rotisserie. They're both good. I wouldn't sneeze at either of them, you know. This one I prefer over this one. This was my Wellspring Big Ben 10. This was my Oklahoma Joe Bronco. Both tasty, don't get me wrong, but this one I prefer. All right, it spun. It cooked a heck of a... This cooked way faster than this one, okay? Like I said, almost 2 hours faster. And I think I predicted that in the beginning just because it's over open live flame. You're getting way more radiant energy from your heat source, and this one's got the deflector plate in there. Now I guess I could have taken the deflector plate out and sped up the cook. Maybe I'll try that another time, but anyways. So they're both smoky, both tasty. The family's hungry. We're going to eat these things. So that's my final thoughts and conclusions. Yes. Will it spin? Test number 1 worked well. All right. So first of all you people that came to watch the Will It Spin, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for checking me out. Much appreciated. Don't forget, please, if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. Helps the video, helps me out, and if you did get some value, hit the thumbs up. And to all the returning subscribers or new subscribers, if you hit that subscribe, you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Love you guys. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Let's grow the channel even more. Let's see if I can get 100 likes on this video. I've never broken the 100 like area, so if I if we get 100 likes, maybe I'll make something crazy on the Will It Spin series. All right. Because again, I don't, this is my hobby. I have a full-time job. I just do this for fun. Okay, so don't forget, just like I said, hit that thumbs up, subscribe, very important, and to notify me. Notify me also, it goes ding, 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 ding. That lets you know when there's new content on the channel. All right, and I also, here's my plug for my Instagram page. If you have Instagram, don't forget to follow me over there. Here's my QR code. I do post some other fun things up there from time to time, a little different than my YouTube channel. Check me out. All right, if you like anything I used on the show today, knives, equipment, anything, check out my Lost Canuck store. Below, it's an affiliate link store. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and I do make a very small commission off of whatever you buy. It helps me buy beef ribs, because you saw the price on these things, they weren't cheap. All right. I think I've covered everything. We're at the end, and like I said, I did get a free bowl of soup with this hat. If you guys know Caddyshack.
This is the worst looking hat I ever saw. Well, you buy a hat like this, I'll bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh? Oh, it looks good on you, though.
All right, so that's enough of the silliness. Final words, always, Lost Canuck says. Don't forget, be kind to each other. It's so important nowadays. There's so much craziness out there. There's so much anger and just bad things all around, okay? You don't know what other people are going through. Be kind. It really matters. It will pay off in the long run. All right, don't forget to check out some of my other content. Lots of charcoal stuff. I got a PK grill. I got pellet smokers. I got a Lone Star that I'm going to be throwing a brisket on here right away. So check it out. Take care. Bye-bye. Love you guys.